Hey guys, and welcome to another how-to video. In this one I will be showing you how to remove and refit a new chain wheel. Some people know them as a chain set, crank set, but it is a chain wheel technically. So let's crack on. Now, the same as most other repairs, this doesn't actually need to be difficult. It is two things: remove and replace. Now, you can take the chain off if you want to, but if you don't have a chain breaker, you don't have to. So you want to change your gears into the smallest cog on the front, pulling the derailleur forwards. You can hook the chain off of the front chain wheel. If you're wanting to keep or use the same pedals, this is where you would take them off. So, standing facing the rear of the bike and the pedal facing you, with usually a 15mm pedal spanner, lock in place and push down. And then pedaling the bike, we'll bring the pedal off. And then exactly the same on the other side. You have a bit more leverage now, so lock the pedal spanner on, push the pedal spanner down and lift the crank arm up. Just like that. Most bikes will have a cap here. Some of them are screwed in and some of them are put in with clips and pressure. This one is a pressure one. You can use a screwdriver or you can use a handy little hook, and you want to hook that out, exposing the crank bolt. Now, these will either be a 14mm socket or an 8mm Allen key bit. Now, to loosen this off, we want the crank arm facing forward and the ratchet facing backwards in a locked position, so you can push down and get full leverage on both sides. And that takes the initial tension out, and then you can go ahead and unscrew that crank bolt. Now, with a crank extractor, screw in the first housing just until you get resistance. You don't want to over tighten it, and then going exactly the same way with the pulley arm, and then as it tightens up, a firm grip on the crank arm and a firm grip on the crank extractor, pull those together. And as this winds in, it pulls the crank off the bottom bracket. Once you've got the crank arms off, just with a rag or a brush, get any loose debris, grease and grit off of the bottom bracket. Now, in a new set, you should expect to find exactly what you've taken off and will need to refit it. Two new crank bolts, the chain wheel and the offside crank arm. So as long as you find a square taper crank set to match a square taper bottom bracket, and your tooth count is the same on the bottom and the largest rings, this will fit. So, line it up with the bottom bracket, place it on. Now, this new crank set has come with its own crank bolts, which are an 8mm Allen key. The thread in the bottom bracket is the same, so this doesn't actually make a difference. So you want to line that up just so it bites with the thread, and then swap to your Allen key, tightening that up. If you have a torque wrench, this needs to be done up to 40 Newton meters. And then we want to do the same thing on the offside. Line up the crank arm with the bottom bracket, place the Allen key in, like so. Now will be the time to refit your pedals. Obviously you can stick with the old ones. The easiest way to test if they're still okay if you hold the thread and you hold the housing of the pedal and give them a little wobble, if you can feel any grinding bearings, or if it comes loose, or if it just falls out, get new pedals. But these ones, in spite of being a bit dirty, are absolutely fine. And if you're not sure which way they go back on the end of the thread will be an L or an R. The left hand side usually has ridges on the thread here, so that you can tell which side goes on which. Now re-grease the thread and put your pedals back on. The easiest way I find to do it, hold your pedal in your non-dominant hand, pedal spanner in your dominant hand, hold them together, line up with the thread, and then just pedal backwards. Keeping the pedal spanner on the pedal until it nips tight, and then a slight push to nip it up. If you over tighten your pedals, you can thread the crank arm and then you have to replace the entire unit. The final step will be to put your chain back on. So with your hand underneath, take the slack, pull down on the derailleur, and then place the chain on the smallest chain ring. There you go folks, you just changed your very own crank set. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, leave a like and a comment. If you think I missed any useful steps, leave a comment, smash that subscribe button, and I will see you here in the next video.